Welcome, beautiful people, and welcome to part something, either 3 or 4, of our series on human trafficking. We have Jennifer Dorn here, who is channeling my lovely son, Erik, in the afterlife, who is going to give us all the lowdown on what is a horrible situation, but obviously a spiritual contract situation in the world today.
Yes.
All right, so Jennifer Dorn is going to be very, very brave, as she usually is. So it's not an easy topic for either of us.
No.
All right. Going on with the questions from the community. Historically, what is the root cause of child sacrifice and sexual abuse? Oof. Let's start out with
A big one. Oh,
God. I know.
historically, what is the root cause of what was the
Any,
child?
any kind of child sacrifice, sexual abuse, crimes against children.
What Erik is saying is that really the root cause, the reason that exists is because when we come to Earth, this is where the shit happens. This is where the worst of the worst happens. And it's about the extremes here. This is unfortunately a horrendous experience that we can have as humans. And that's
It's just the human experience, contrast,
yeah.
polarity.
Yep.
All right.
Well,
All right, next. Rumors and firsthand evidence around the honeypotting that exists to entrap and control politicians, entertainers, and corporate leaders. How prevalent is honeypotting? And I just had to look it up, by the way.
yeah.
It's when a person uses things that you either enjoy or arouse you to do what they want.
So what the question is, what is the
Yeah, how prevalent is honeypotting?
I mean, honestly, Erik is just equating honeypotting with blackmail.
Yeah.
So it's pretty prevalent. It's especially in politics,
Oh,
in
God.
political settings.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. All right, those who engage in sexual slavery with children and families of their own. Those who engage in sexual slavery have children and families of their own. How is it that people are able to commit such horrible acts on others without empathy if they have children and families?
Well, basically because there's a psychosis with those people, and
Yeah.
there is no empathy. There is no empathy. Is that
Yeah.
psychotic or sociopaths that have no empathy?
I never can remember the two.
I can't remember either.
I do not remember. And I always
that
look
is
it up and I
why.
promptly forget it. But yeah, it's not no bueno and no bueno. All right, what is the common way that people are taken? What's the most common way that people are? I'm sure when they come across the border with the cartels and stuff, that's probably one way. But
Yeah, the most
prostitutes picking up
common.
prostitutes on the street, maybe.
Yeah, so I mean, really, when you put it that way, Erik just says abduction, like just snatch. But so the most common avenue is, yeah, he's saying like people coming across borders, people traveling. There's not really it's not really like a most common way. It's just vulnerability, like the person being abducted being vulnerable.
Yeah, and homeless kids, teens, etc.,
Yes,
adults.
yes, yes.
How to protect ourselves and not find ourselves in such a vulnerable situation? I think one is you better be aware, man. Just listen to your intuition and be aware of your surroundings, right?
Yeah, so Erik he's saying, like, let's be a little cautious answering this because we don't want it to look like the victim is at fault, okay? And the victim is not at fault. But you do have to protect yourself. You do have to keep yourself safe. This isn't about women or men or children. It's about everybody.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be aware of your surroundings. It's, it would be great if we were all on the other side, we would never have to worry about this. We're not. Shit happens here. We have to keep ourselves safe, keep our children safe.
Yes, exactly. I can't believe in our day. I mean, me and my little sister, my sisters, we would just go take the bus downtown and jump over homeless people, and we were just like 7, 8 years old. It's just crazy.
Yes.
Let us do that in downtown Houston.
Well, even like, and I'm sorry, he's showing me, and I'm sorry for bringing this up, but it was near where my family's all from in upstate New York. There was just that young girl camping with her family, and they found her, and she's
in a cupboard.
Yes, but it's like you just like in a second, in a second. So
Yeah.
diligence about watching others, and also Erik says if you see something, it's we don't want to get involved, but
Yeah.
human nature, we don't want to get involved. He
I
said, but
know. See something, say something though.
yes, yeah,
What do you tell your children? Like, I always told my children and now my grandchildren, if you get lost in a store, you can't find mom or whatever, who do you go to seek help? And they'll say like the police, a policeman or whatever. No, ask a mom.
yes,
Don't even ask the employee, etc. Ask a mom.
yep, yeah. If
So
you see somebody with kids, yeah, if you see a mom with
yeah,
kids, yeah,
right, right.
um,
That's the best way. But what do you tell children if they do get snatched? What do you teach them to do?
so Erik says it's you got to teach them before about
Yes, yeah.
how to keep themselves safe, how to, don't get in the van with candy or a puppy, like that kind of stuff. You really do need to teach them that. Teach them when if they are out on their own or walking, that they don't want to be on their phone. They don't want to be distracted like that. They need to pay attention to
Oh,
their
yeah.
surroundings.
Yeah. Always be around
Mm-hmm.
a safe adult, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like I remember being, young, and I don't know, maybe we were more like aware back then, or maybe our parents put the fear into us more or something. But I just remember like my friends and I, if we saw the same car pass by like 2 or 3 times, like we recognized, of course, we didn't have the cell phones and that kind of thing. So like we'd get freaked out and be like, why does this car keep driving
Yeah.
past? Like,
Yeah.
unfortunately, you don't want to be afraid of everything, but you do need to be
Oh,
aware.
yeah. But
Yeah.
kids now they have their own alternate universe in their digital
Mm-hmm.
world, so they're not really aware of the real world as much as we were.
Yeah.
I remember my parents dropped us off at a movie, and it was late at night when it got out, and this guy in a car asked us if we wanted some candy and come on in, and we knew,
Yeah.
So if you are taken, what is the best way to escape? Maybe screaming at the top of your voice, clawing their eyes out.
Yeah. So
Private.
yeah, that is really a case by case situation.
Yeah.
Um, Unfortunately, sometimes when people are taken, it's in their contract that there isn't any
And escape. Yeah.
escape. I know I heard this a long time ago. Eric's reminding me of it. Like if you feel like you're being abducted, you have to do everything you can to stay in that location and not to get taken to a second location. So,
Oh yeah, yeah.
If somebody's holding a weapon to you and you pitch a big fit and cause a big scene, maybe you do get hurt a little bit right there, but chances are the person's just going to run off because they don't want to draw attention. So that's the key. The biggest thing Erik says is not to get abducted in the first place. That anything and everything you can do for it not to happen.
Should children be armed with a whistle around their neck or pepper spray or anything like that? Or is that
especially like the whistle's good, especially if or they have that one now that like you pull that little thing and it's like you press the button and it's like this panic alarm.
Yes, that sounds
like especially if kids are going to be like going home to an empty house or having to walk home alone like that. Yeah, those are good things.
Okay. Have the majority of the children been rescued? I have a feeling I know the answer.
No.
I know we probably won't be able to stop human trafficking. I mean, it's been going on since mankind existed. Probably.
Yeah, Erik says with human trafficking, humans have been trafficked since humans have been around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, are we ever going to get an upper hand and be able to rescue most of the children and adults?
Are we ever going to get? So what he's saying is if we're talking about the humans and the adults and children trafficked right now, no, not the ones who are already there.
Okay.
Eventually, we will get to a place where it becomes less and less people actually being trafficked.
Okay.
But not the ones that are already trafficked.
All right. Are reptilian and draconian malevolent forces behind what influences humans to create and perpetuate these atrocities?
So Erik's saying if there is any of that influence, it's minor in comparison to what the human experience still is.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Well, are blood sacrifices also a big part of this for the benefit of these alien species, these races?
No. He says no. That's also just like twistedness in the human thinking.
Okay.
It maybe had used to be, okay, way back, but it's
not so
that
much.
kind of malevolent energy isn't doesn't interfere as much as it used to.
Okay. If so, what percent of humans are involved? Well, we are. Okay.
It's a small percentage.
How can they extract themselves, humans that are influenced by reptilian and draconian malevolent forces? How can they extract themselves from such influences?
So Erik is actually saying a bigger problem is that for the humans that are doing this stuff, they have a disconnect between the horrific things that they're doing and it actually being them that's making the choice.
Oh,
okay. So it's like sometimes people talk about their demons and they can't control their demons. And so Erik says that is a way to deflect from your own choices that you're making. It's all these demons. I can't help it.
yeah.
Okay. So he says that it's become an excuse now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's I can't control it. Now, yes, there are some negative entities and negative energies that do affect us for sure. But in regards to this, he says it really is about they are making the choices and they need to own up to what they're doing. That's the biggest part of it.
Yeah, that's not going to be easy. This is interesting. What percentage of global human trafficking have been extraterrestrial food sources, like taking people to eat?
Like over the course of forever? Or
I don't know.
20%. Most of this is just human to human.
Okay. But I mean, so there are some that are kidnapped to be consumed by.
Well, that feels like
long ago. Okay.
Yes.
But now not as common.
No, not as common.
All right. So those that are kidnapped for consumption, how and what the process is, what is the process like for transporting those humans to the powers that be or the extraterrestrials? Or
this just honestly, boom. It's just, they're just gone. They're just gone.
Okay.
It's just, it's actually not traumatic after the initial abduction for the human.
Okay.
They're just gone. Gone.
All right. Are they eaten in the spaceships or?
It's not really like that. It's like not like it's more of an energetic thing. Erik, it's not.
Not a chewing on
yes.
the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like an energy sucking.
Yes.
Okay. Erik, I work with trafficked women and a doctor was found who will remove their branding tattoo for free. But my question is about a friend of mine. Shelly is her first name. She's never been seen or heard from in 4 years because she was a street worker, was picked up by a trafficking ring, and has she passed? Because London, Ontario is a central city for human trafficking. This is from Helena Nimick, one of our.
So as you were reading that, Erik was saying murdered.
Okay. So Ontario, that's where Michelle Gray lives and Helena Nimick live in London, Ontario. Wow.
Yeah, but they in this particular area they have, and during that time, and maybe even still, they had these issues with these workers. There was, I guess, if you want to say, a serial person doing this there. It connects to that. I don't know if they know. You don't hear about that kind of stuff when it comes to homeless people and prostitutes.
Okay. Is Ukraine still a hot spot for human trafficking? And is this part of the reason for war over there?
Yes, it is still. It is, but there's a lot of other hotbeds for human trafficking.
Oh yeah,
yes, that is still one.
Yeah.
Is it why there's war there? There's probably a link a little bit, but not. This is not the main reason there's war there.
Yeah,
it's more like there's war there, so it makes it a little bit easier to do that.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody's looking over here, so
yeah, really, that makes sense. Why are women the majority of them? Is in the media a lot of times it shows women as the victim and men as a perpetrator. Well, I guess that's just biology, right?
Yes, and of course, women are involved in the abduction and human trafficking, and men are trafficked. men are trafficked, it is. But yes, the bigger percentage is the other way around.
Okay. I'm sure the men that are trafficked are probably when they're children.
Yeah, younger.
And women are probably good at convincing a prostitute to,
Yeah.
to
Or a child,
Or a child, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there multiple underground tunnels throughout the USA and the world that are and have been used to help aid in the abduction and trafficking of men, women, and children, so that general society either can't see them or find them? So is there a big tunnel network?
So there is a big tunnel network under there. That's, we've discussed that before, I believe. So there's all kinds of stuff that happens underground. As far as this being a way that the human trafficking is done, it's not the biggest way that they transport, because these underground tunnels are monitored very closely, and actually watched very closely by somebody.
Thank God. All right, but so they're probably put in ship containers and things like
that. Yeah. The trafficking is more above ground.
Okay.
The moving of the people. Yeah.
Right. If so, these tunnels are these tunnels in and around our state and national parks like Yosemite, or capitals like Washington, D.C.? Are there tunnels?
So the tunnels should not be the focus of the trafficking. It's just not. That's not where a majority of it is. It doesn't mean that there aren't abducted people who are moved through the tunnels.
Yeah.
But it's not
the big part.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard from sources that this is part of the same thing, but I'll read it anyway. There's secret tunnels where Illuminati or black projects have dark experiments on human beings trafficked, brought to them. Is that true? So
that would be where that's the smaller percentage of what's going on. And those are not the same tunnels. There's all kinds of other tunnels as well.
So underground secret areas?
Yeah, that tunnel system, Erik is saying, is smaller than the other tunnels under there.
Underground places.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Underground places. And it's like in particular areas, it's like there might be a small network of tunnels there. These other tunnels are throughout the whole.
Okay.
All
right. Or do they do experiments on trafficked humans there? In some of these places?
Yeah. Yeah, there is some testing.
Okay. What's the most common testing, or are there just so many you can't pick?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Erik, have you heard of the Mexico Dulce base? Quite a famous place for Illuminati and dark cabal activities underneath the surface. And if you do, explain what's going on there for all those humans trafficked in there. Is that a place? Mexico Dulce base?
So, he's done this before. He says yes, and then.
Okay, we can't talk.
Yep.
It's too unsafe. All right. Is there human trafficking happening in Disney World, Universal Studio, things like that?
Yes.
Are the corporate executives involved, or is it just like, hey, there are kids there, so there are going to be people that are going to take them?
So it used to be worse. It's not. It does connect somehow to maybe people who work there, but it's not necessarily the top.
Yeah, it's
people.
Not organized.
Yes, and it is harder now than it used to be.
Okay, well, that's good. Why does Mickey Mouse look so scary in the past? Does he really? And is that related to
Erik? No, Erik just said, that's just because if you look at like the Halloween costumes from the past and it just was creepy. Like stuff was just creepy back then. Like there's no.
I had a Tweety Bird costume when I was trick-or-treating, and it looked scary to me too.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, even the baby dolls. Like
the baby dolls are creepy.
Terrifying. Yeah. It's just that era.
So nothing related to this topic.
Mm-hmm. No.
How deeply involved in the participation of human trafficking are elected officials, Hollywood, and the music industry?
So there is a huge connection. There is. I mean,
Yeah.
there just is a huge connection there. It's not all of them. It's not everybody. And really, Erik is saying it really is probably less than half. It's just that there's a lot of power behind the people who are involved.
Yeah. So why them? It's because they have money and power and they're able to?
Yeah. Money, power, they're able to, unfortunately, especially like with Hollywood, there is a lot of like grooming and stuff that happens with people as they're coming up through.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's, to do some of this stuff, Erik saying you have to have money. So
Yeah.
it's going to happen within the groups of people who have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of pressure in those two industries in particular to be like to conform and to be accepted.
Yeah.
And so some people, maybe they don't initially start out like, wanting to be involved in it, but they go along to get along. And then the next thing they know, they're
Deep
caught up
in.
in this. Yeah. Yes.
Well, why do they do it? Is it for money or is it for sex or?
Well, some of the people, yeah, it's for money. The power because they can, because sometimes for people like they're just looking for that next rush of like
Power over another
yes
individual, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and some of them are just sick. I mean, there's definitely like a lot of sociopathic energy there, but it's like if you have somebody who's a sociopath or a psychopath, whichever one, and then they have all this money and power and influence over others, it's going to create a bigger network. If you have like somebody who doesn't have all that money and power but still have those tendencies, then maybe you see serial killers, or you see you see it like like kind of hidden that way. But it's almost like then you find other people who go along with you and it's like, okay, this is normal, this is okay. It's just,
oh gosh.
and it just snowballs basically.
Why do politicians have so many politicians have so much money when their salaries aren't that big? What's going on? Like Bernie Sanders and the Bidens and the Kennedys, their money is old from the patriarch, but why?
So Erik says everybody knows why. There's corruption. There's bribery. I mean, everybody knows why they. Some of them have family money, of course. It's not all of them, but it's
Yeah, I just think it's amazing. So much for being public servant. All right, anything else you want to add before we close, Erik?
So yeah, he does say that for those souls who end up trafficked, especially the children, I knew, I was like, it's just not going to happen. He said,
oh, you don't have to say. It's okay.
He just says they're very well cared for.
You're on the other side. Oh, I hope so. It's wonderful.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Brave soul. And I love you, Erik. Today was the horrible day many years ago at 12:41. So everybody send a prayer out for my boy, Erik.
Yes, absolutely. And he says, I love you, Mom.
Love you too.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.